Ohio by introducing bills to prohibit abortion. Aaron, it's so great to have you here. You know that I've long admired everything that you've done in this state, and you're hot foot out of doing even more work in Ohio.
Yeah.
So we're even more grateful that you're here at the march and also here in the studios with us.
Well, it's special to be here. We want to keep momentum going. Even with the disappointing year in Ohio, there was still so much that the pro-life community came together like never before, and we want to keep that going forward.
Well, tell us a little bit more. What actually happened?
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, there's so many reasons that the Ohio abortion amendment passed. And we could talk about how we were outspent 2-1, and I think for a lot of folks, we have to recognize where culture is today, right? We have a culture that views their sexual identity as central to who they are. So it was a really hard messaging battle we got in there. But what we also saw, though, is more pastors step up, more Christians step up like never before to speak out on this. And so while it's absolutely devastating that this is in our state constitution and what it means for the rest of the country, we are seeing folks saying, listen, we've been silent on this for far too long. And we're seeing lives being lost because of it. So we have to step up now.
Yeah, you mentioned going forward. What are you doing to go forward?
Yeah, you know, I think in the short term, there's a lot of things we're doing on the legal front to look at how do we limit this. You know, it's going to be really hard, and our state attorney general said this, it's going to be really hard to put gestational limits in place. However, if you have laws that protect the health and safety of women, those things we're going to argue very much should stay in place. And so we're going to make sure that these clinics we don't have a bunch of Gosnell clinics popping up all over Ohio. And hold these clinics and really the pro-abortion community at large accountable for the things they said on the campaign trail.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and what about the marches? I mean, how important are they in the state?
So we've committed. We had our largest march ever last year. Over 6,000 people came up for the Ohio March for Life. We've committed to keeping that going every year. We're going to do it on the first Friday of October. Not just for the political pressure to lawmakers to say, hey, the pro-life community is here, but more so than that, we saw more, especially Catholic schools, send kids down to the march than ever before. This is about passing the pro-life movement down to the next generation. They get that experience of standing together for vulnerable children, for women, and it's so essential to keep that going year in and year out. Because this is not as one friend told me yesterday, we thought Dobbs was the beginning of the end, but really it's the end of the beginning. We have a lot more work to do here now, so we have to make sure the next generation picks up the mantle.
You know, we had a constitutional expert on earlier today, and she mentioned that this is the first time they get to have this conversation and really talk about the life issue, but we do have some real challenges. The messaging challenge about gender identity is particularly significant in Ohio right now. What is the battle there?
Yeah, you know, really, we've been working on the bill to end trans medicine on kids for a number of years. This actually dated back 5 years ago. This particular version of the bill, Representative Gary Click brought forward about 3 years ago. And we finally got it passed out of the House and Senate and sent up to Governor Mike DeWine. And in really an unbelievable move, he vetoed the bill. But the good news is he so offended so many lawmakers and the political pressure was so great. I mean, everyone from J.D. Vance to Megyn Kelly to Donald Trump was saying we need to override this, that the House came back on January 10th, overrode the veto with more votes than we passed in the first place. And now the Senate is coming back on the 24th. The Senate President, Matt Huffman, has already come out and said we're going to override the veto. And so we feel really confident we're going to be able to end this sterilizing and mutilating medicine on children for the next generation.
Yeah, and it's so important. I mean, because you can't carry on the next generation if those children can't have children.
Exactly. I mean, that's really across the board, we just see culture trying to deny people the blessing of kids. And especially doing that to children who are in difficult situations, saying the answer to whatever you're going through is sterilization is just insane. It's harmful and wrong.
And as we know, most of those kids actually, I mean, truthfully, statistically, by the time they go through adolescence and reach young adulthood, they grow out of that as well. So,
yeah, no, and that's really what we've seen is that at the end of the day, all the medical data is on our side that says this is harmful. And even just common sense. That was the most disappointing thing about the governor's veto is that, yeah, you have children's hospitals and those people that are profiting off of this. This is really big business for them. That are pushing, the only ones pushing to do this. Everything else, and even your own common sense says, boys cannot become girls. So anything that's trying to do that is going to be harmful.
Big business and big pharma. I mean, it's also an issue with the hormonal, the transition hormones that are given that also provide irreversible damage. You know, we talk about surgeries a lot, but we don't talk about off the mindset of contraception where we're giving young women hormones, what we're doing then to also give hormonal treatments that are pretty aggressive and also irreversible.
No, exactly, and this is beginning. I think what COVID started, and now we're seeing this with the transgender medicine. It's actually opening up a conversation to have conversations about contraception that maybe we've not been able to have before. But I think one of the things that was really disappointing through all of this was Governor DeWine really got. You heard in his comments, he was like, "Well, this is causing suicide of kids, so this is why we have to veto this bill." But the reality is, even the drug they're giving them, Lupron, right, the puberty-blocking drug, one of the side effects of that is suicide ideation, right? Again, so across the board, we see the medicalization of children, the medicalization of just humanity at large, leading to some broader issues right now.
Yeah, Aaron, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. We can continue this discussion all day long, but we have to wrap it up.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, and God bless.
Hey, bless you.
Absolutely. And we will be back in a minute. Stay with us.